Hello students, welcome back to classes on storage area network. Next part of module 1 is intelligent storage system. Those who have not watched my previous videos, please watch them. So here in intelligent storage system, we are implementing the RAID along with some circuits, along with some necessary circuits like controller circuits, and they assist for data transfer to and from transfer from the hard disk or secondary storage or say RAID. So secondary storage is implemented with the help of the RAID, where RAID stands for redundant array of independent or inexpensive disk. So let us see the components. See, in front of a physical disk, the physical disk has got some sort of circuit. So essential components, some of the components are front end, cache, as well as back end. What is that front end? So it's a part of the controller circuit. It has got a port, and port is used for connecting the or plug-in of cables, isn't it? So it has got a port, then it has got a circuit. It is connected to that is connected to cache. As you can see, the second module of intelligent storage system, cache, and you know the role of cache. What is the role of cache? It is an intermediate storage. It is used to boost up the, as you are aware of, boost up the performance, because recently executed data will be stored at cache. Next we have backend, and finally we have physical disk. So backend, it's similar to our front end controller, but the controller is associated with the physical disk. So front end, which is associated with the remaining part or rest of the part of the storage area network. Please understand, the storage area network which will be having one host, followed by a network, followed by physical disk or secondary storage. So these are the things, three essential components of storage area network. One is host, second one is connection or network say, and the third one is the secondary storage. That secondary storage has got some additional components now, additional circuit. There it is called as, hence it is called as intelligent storage system. This has got the controller circuits front end, followed by cache, followed by backend controller, and finally that is connected to the storage array. Okay, the functionalities of front end controller, especially it gets the data from host and transfer towards the physical disk, as well as it gets the data from physical disk and transfer to the host. And cache, you are aware of, it's a, so recently accessed data will be stored for a while in cache. So if the host is looking for the same data in after some interval, after certain interval, so instead of looking onto the physical disk, what you can do, what a front end controller can, it can directly have an access for the same set of data from the cache, right? This is what the structure of the cache. Okay, this has got data store component and tagram component. The last row, which is called as tagram, and in between the pages or blocks are marked inside the cache, which is called as data store. Okay, then there are two concept comes, hit as well as miss. So hit stands for, you are looking for certain data and which is available at cache, which is called as, then it is called as, or host is looking for certain data, so the request is transferred to cache through front end controller. So the same data is available at front end controller, then it is called as hit, because the data is available at cache. This, assume it is the condition where data is not available, then we call it as the miss. Okay, so there are two types of operations can be performed over cache. One is read operation and other one is write operation. So for read operation, same thing, read hit as well as read miss it is called as. So host want to read, you are performing the read operation, So host is performing the read operation. It wants to read some data which is already stored in the on the disk. So its request is transferred to over network. Its request is transferred to the disk. So prior to disk there is a front end controller. Front end controller forward the request to cache. If the data is available at cache, no need of checking for the same in the secondary storage. The request can be, I mean, the response can be sent from the front end controller itself, right? So if that is the situation, we call situation as read hit. What is read miss then? The same situation, data is not available. Data is not available, then we call it as the miss. So read miss it is called as. Okay. Here you can see that concept particularly about hit as well as miss concept with respect to read operation. So there are two diagrams, very important topic from this module. So if data found in cache, very simple also. See that shaded part, gray shaded. So data is available at a particular location of cache. So it will simply send the data back to the host. We call it as read hit. And read miss is what? Read request is initiated from host. It is forwarded to cache, right? Data is not available and we have simply forwarded the request to physical disk. Read request we have forwarded to physical disk. Now read the data from the physical disk, place it on cache. So obviously one copy will be kept at cache since it will be the recently executed data. Transfer it back to host. Next is the write operation. So write operation with cache. So there are two types of write operation can be implemented. Write means, see, it is data you are going to store for the first time. Okay, data you are going to store for the first time on the disk or permanently on the disk, right? So there are two types of cache available, write back cache and write through cache. So in write back cache, what happens is new data which you want to store from data is transferred from host to secondary storage through front end controller, followed by cache, followed by back end controller, followed by storage array, that is RAID or whatever secondary storage. If you observe the diagram you will come to know, right? So what happens is data is directly transferred to, or it is directly kept onto the secondary storage. Since it is considered as the recently executed data, you have to follow the principles of cache. So same data should be written back onto the cache. That is what write back cache is. While sending the data, data will not be copied on the cache. Simply it will be placed at one location of secondary storage. Then it will be brought, its copy will be brought back to cache. That is what called as write back cache. And write through cache is different, since data is transferred through front end controller, followed by cache, followed by back end controller, and finally to the secondary storage. So while placing the data on secondary storage, its copy will be resided at cache. That is what called as write through cache. So single write operation will be considered as two write operations. In write back cache, what happens? First the data will be placed at secondary storage, then its copy will be brought back to cache memory. Whereas here in write through cache, since data is transferred through cache, so while transferring the data, keep a copy there itself, okay, and place another copy at secondary storage. Next is about the management, cache management. Since the size of cache is very less, very confined compared to the secondary storage, you cannot store any of the data randomly. So you have to go for deletion of certain data. So how deletion takes place? That takes place through cache management technique. So commonly used one is the LRU algorithm, least recently used data is identified at regular interval, and that block of data will be discarded from the cache. Opposite to it, we have MRU also. So most recently used data will be deleted from the cache. These are the technique we have under cache management. Then this LRU, for LRU as well as MRU, deletion of blocks or data from the cache, there are three different strategies we have for deletion. One is called as idle flushing. So idle flushing is the one, anytime, any interval of time you can consider, where about 50% of the cache will full, rest 50% will be free only. Then next is high watermark flushing. About 75 to 80% of cache will full every time, any point of time, and of the rest of the portions will remain free. About 20 to 25% of portion will remain free at any interval of time. Next one is forced flushing, where 100% of cache will fill. After that, either by using LRU algorithm or by using MRU algorithm, certain blocks will be deleted. You can see them with the help of the diagram as well. Say LVM and HVM, high watermark and low watermark, these are all the levels. Okay, some threshold levels for our reference purpose. So once 50%, there are 10 rows you can find, 8 rows are there. So 4 rows, once 4 rows filled, in case of idle flushing, remaining blocks will be at any point of time it is considered as 50% filled. It operates on 50%. Once blocks are accumulated, 50% of blocks are accumulated. About 80 to 90% or 75 to 80, whatever you consider, high watermark flushing takes place. So HVM, there is a mark, threshold level. Once it crosses the threshold level, flushing takes place. And forced flushing, 100% blocks will be accumulated. Then either using LRU or MRU algorithm, data will be deleted. Okay, next is about cache protection, ensuring the security for cache. So we can go for cache mirroring. You know the concept of mirroring. Under RAID you have studied about mirroring. So cache mirroring, this is nothing but taking the backup of the data which are stored at cache. Similarly, we can have cache vaulting. Cache vaulting represents supplying the additional or having the additional power supply for the cache for normal operation. Even though in case of power failure, cache should not be turned off, because if the cache itself is turned off, then data will be lost, whatever data is stored, right? So volatile memory it is. So having additional backup or having additional UPS, especially for the cache, that is called as cache vaulting technique. Okay. Next we have the backend controller, that is similar to your front-end controller only, which is connected to the physical disk. So which transfers the data to the physical disk or gets the data from physical disk. Next is the physical disk only, right? It's a set of array, RAID, which is implemented by using any of the RAID technique. So next is about the storage provisioning, virtual storage provisioning. So storage provisioning is done with the help of a concept called as logical unit number, or LUN. So LUN, it's a logical entity, physical, irrespective of the physical existence. For example, in a RAID set, what happens is, you take the example, you take a concept of RAID 0, that is striping, entire amount of data which will be having 5 stripes, right, where each stripe is stored in one array, one module of a particular array, say one location of a particular array. There are 5 arrays, so 5 divisions will be stored at first location of each array. Okay, so what about the physical existence? Just analyze. So entire amount of data A, which is divided into five groups, A1, A2, A3, A4 and A5, where each segment, say A1, A2 and so on, is stored at a different location, right? So whatever their physical existence may be, but virtually they are collected all together as a single entity. So irrespective of the physical existence, we can collect them virtually as a single entity, and we call it as the logical we can refer to the single logical entity with the help of an id called as LUN, logical unit number. Okay, that is what storage provisioning with the help of LUN. Okay, so here is a diagram you can go through. Physical disk drive, which is there at the bottommost position, and on top of it LUN is marked. It's also called as thin LUN. Okay, another concept we have related to it, that is LUN masking. It's a process that provides data access control by defining which LUNs host can access, because it tells, this LUN masking tells about the authority for access. Okay, this defines which host can access which LUN. That's it. Who is authorized to access the data? That is defined by the concept called as LUN masking. Very simple topic. So setting up of the authority for accessing the data is done with the help of the LUN masking. Then when we next topic we have is the types of intelligent storage system. High-end storage system as well as mid-range storage system are the two types, broad categories based on the configuration. So high-end storage system, very simple. You can just go through the diagram. You will come to know, just have the comparison by seeing the diagram. So there are two lines or pair of lines between host and storage array. Observe carefully, there are two controller circuits, controller A as well as controller N. Then there is a front end controller, obviously front end controller, cache, back end controller, and you can see the physical disk, right? So front end controller is there, back end control, in between there is a cache, back end controller you can see, then you can see the physical disk. So totally we call it as the intelligent storage system. There are pair of active lines between host and storage array. There are pair of active lines, right? Data can be sent either from first or from second, right? Both the lines are active, both the connections are active, right? Parallelly also you can do the task. This is called as parallel. You can send or receive the data from yeah, if the data are not relevant to each other, then data processing, accessing, everything can be done parallelly with the help of two active lines from host. That is about high end storage system. One more, we have mid range storage system, but instead of the pair of line, yeah, again we have the pair of line, but instead of having a active pair of line, we have an active and a backup or passive line between host and storage array. Okay, so what is the use of this passive? This passive line, it's a redundant line. So in case of the failure of a network, say if the active line is failed to transfer the data, then what will happen? The passive line will be activated and it can take the control of sending or receiving the data. That is what the major difference between high end storage system, storage array, and mid range storage array. So high end storage system is more effective because we have pair of active lines, right? Simultaneously data can be retrieved, either transmitted or received, right, among them, host as well as the storage array simultaneously. So that is with respect to high end storage system. But in case of mid range storage system, what happens is, see, there is an active line followed by there is a passive line, right? At a time only a single connection is used, that is active by default. In case of if active line fails, then passive will take the control of it. So this is also called as active passive configuration. The previous one was called as active configuration. Yeah, this is active configuration. Okay, so guys, this ends your chapter 4 of module 1. So first module topics are completed. Please go through all the topics. Okay, go through the assignment questions. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.